Hey guys, Dan with Warpaint JKU. In this quick little episode, as you can see, I got my hood up here on Warpaint. I'm going to show you guys how to do a basic oil change, but one that not only is going to allow you to do it in your home, but also allow you guys to be able to preserve the life of that oil cooler on this 3.6 Pentastar. Check it out. Hey guys, so doing an oil change on a 3.6 Pentastar is not all that difficult, especially if you've never done one before. And as I've said before on this channel, my whole point in doing this is to help people and help motivate people to work on their Jeeps themselves. And if you've never done that, an oil change is a great place to start. You just need a few basic tools, which we'll go over in a second, and doing it right can give you some satisfaction. You'll get to know your vehicle a little bit better, and you'll be able to help grow your mechanical ability to one day be able to do some other things yourself as well. The real important thing before we get down to the oil change is where your oil filter is housed. And in the 3.6 Pentastar that they've put in every Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep product that gets a V6 since 2013, they're still using it today. It's the oil filter is housed in the oil cooler. Okay, now that oil cooler is notorious for failing on these 3.6 Pentastars, and it fails early, especially when you get oil changes done improperly. When people over torque that when they reinstall it is when you're going to run into issues, because there's O-rings in the bottom that actually seal it down to the top of your motor without getting into too much detail. And those O-rings, when they get odd pressure on them because you're twisting and tightening something too hard, it's going to cause those to start leaking prematurely. So we're going to touch on that, but let's check out the tools we need to do a basic oil change and to do it clean in your own house real quick. All right, obviously when you're going to do an oil change, the first thing you need is motor oil and a filter. I typically use Valvoline high mileage with Max Life. It's an additive they put in it. I've had good luck with it. There's lots of motor oils. Lots of them are great. Most of them are great. I'm not going to get into motor oils here, but that's typically what I use, and it's done me well over the last 80,000 miles. The other thing you're going to need is a filter. I do recommend going with just a regular Mopar filter. They don't cut corners with these filters, and they've done great. They're pretty cheap. You can get them on places like Amazon, things like that, and that's going to be the MO349 for the Jeep JK with the 3.6. Now, you're also going to need something to catch your oil. I like a catch can like this because you lay it down, right? And after it's laid down, it catches all the oil in it, but then you can replace this cap right here and you can actually stand it back up and then use it to transport your oil to the local auto parts store to actually empty it. So I think it's kind of an all-in-one, nice, easy. You don't have to wind up filling other jugs with oil when you're done here. Now, the other thing that you're gonna need is some tools. This is it. It's basic. You won't even need all of these. Right here, I have an extension to help me reach that oil cooler. I have a 1/2-inch ratchet, a 24 millimeter socket, a 13 millimeter socket, a pick. Now, you don't necessarily need a pick, but it makes the job a lot easier, a lot cleaner. I'll show you how in a second. And in my particular case, because I have a skid plate on my Jeep with a panel that covers where we're going to empty the oil, I need a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 1/4-inch hex point, like an Allen key attachment for it. You need a couple of rubber gloves, try to keep your hands clean, and I use paper towels. I personally like to use paper towels, not shop rags. I know it's waste, but if I use a shop rag and I get motor oil on it and then I go inside my house and I throw it in my washing machine, my wife's got a big problem with that. So typically I wind up throwing them out anyway. Paper towels are just a lot cheaper than shop rags. I have some shop rags, but for something like this and trying to keep your hands clean in an oil change, paper towels are perfect. All right, there are 3 places that you need to be concerned about on top of a 3.6 Pentastar when you're doing an oil change. The first one that I'm going to talk about is actually on the driver's side of the motor. It's a cap that is right down here. You can unscrew it before you even get started. That can be the first thing you do. Just don't lose it and don't forget to replace it. And it says right on it that it is engine oil, and it gives you the factory oil weight, which is going to be a 5W20. Now, over here, you are going to see in the middle of the motor, right behind, this is your alternator, it charges your battery. Right behind it, you're gonna see this. This is the canister and what we're gonna use that 24mm socket on to help us remove the oil filter. This is the thing that when you're retightening it, you need to be really careful that you don't over torque it so that you don't cause leaks with that oil cooler. The oil cooler is attached to this deep down in there. And the last thing is this, your oil dipstick. Don't get that confused with the yellow one in the back. That's for your transmission. This is the one for your motor oil. We're gonna use that in a little while just to check and make sure that our oil level is still good. All right, you've joined me underneath the vehicle. Now, the bottom of your engine is gonna look a little different. Mine has a skid plate on the bottom protecting the engine and the oil pan for off-roading. If you do not have one of these, you're gonna be able to see your oil pan right above this, but I have one. So again, back to that 1/4" ratchet that I'm gonna need to make sure that I remove this little access panel here on the skid plate. Okay, once that is removed, on the bottom here, you can see right where I'm pointing, there's gonna be a 13mm drain plug. You're gonna wanna use your 1/2" or even a smaller ratchet would be fine with this. As long as it's a 13mm socket, you're gonna put that socket on and loosen this. Now, the problem with loosening this is you're gonna start to drain oil out. So you wanna slide your catch can into place right underneath your engine oil pan so that when the oil comes out, you're ready to catch it. You want to break this loose with your ratchet. Once it's loose, you just want to continue to unthread it. And this is where you're going to be making a mess, potentially. So you want to have gloves on your hand and have some paper towels ready. And let the oil flow. Once all that oil is done dripping out of the bottom of the motor, you're gonna wanna put that 13mm oil drain plug back in, snug it up, don't make it overly tight, but you're definitely gonna wanna put it in, snug it back up, wipe off the pan so you don't get little drips on your garage floor or in your driveway, and move back up to the top of the motor. That's it for the bottom. Top of the motor, you're gonna want some more paper towels just because when we pull that filter out, down in here, when we loosen up this oil canister and we remove it, the filter is going to be in it and it might drip a little oil. So you're going to want to have something to catch it with. Nothing crazy, but it might drip. You're also going to want that 24mm socket now ready to go because it'll fit right on top of that oil canister with your ratchet. Okay, once that's loose, now's where you're gonna want that paper towel just to catch whatever drips out. You're gonna finish unscrewing it if you didn't get it all the way out. Lift it out and catch whatever drips, but that is gonna be your oil filter. But obviously it gets oil pumped through it, so you'll have a little bit of oil dripping out. Nothing crazy, you just don't want it dripping all over your motor. But that's your oil filter. This is your oil filter with that canister. Once most of the oil has dripped out of this, you can actually hold it like a cup facing up in the air, and it'll hold whatever oil is left in there inside of this cup, right? So just hold it upside down. Again, rubber gloves. What I like to do is I grab the filter. You don't have to grab it all that hard, but you grab the filter and just kind of work it and it'll pop and it'll clip and you'll hear it. And the whole filter just lifts out and then you can go ahead and throw that in the trash. Now you're left with the empty cup, right? This is what you put your 24mm socket on and removed it. You're left with this empty cup. So you're gonna put it down on the side for a second and open up your oil filter. And this is what your new oil filter is going to look like. Exactly like the old one, just nice and clean. You can set that down for a second. But down inside that box, you're gonna have a rubber O-ring. You're gonna wanna keep that rubber O-ring Because if you look on this cup, right here on the cup, there's another rubber O-ring going all the way around it. It's a gasket. You're going to want to replace that with the new one that's provided in the pick that I showed you before. Makes it real easy to work it in there, work it in there on an edge and grab that rubber O-ring and start to work it off. Otherwise, it's got a little bit of oil remnants on it. It winds up being really slick and makes it real difficult. But with the pick, super easy. Toss that in the trash. Once that O-ring is removed, you can then take the new one, basically just work it around it and back down into place and get it back down. Now, the tricky thing with this is there's a spot. Up here, there's the threads. These threads are what screw on your oil filter housing. Underneath all the threads, you'll see a gap in the threads. That's where you want that rubber O-ring to ride all the way around, is in that gap. So we're just gonna pull this down and work it all the way around so that that rubber O-ring is riding in that gap all the way around. We're back to installing the new filter in your old canister housing cup. The new gasket is already on there like we just did. You're gonna take this end and make it face up. This end is gonna face up. This is the end that essentially goes into the motor and locks in. There's a little O-ring on that as well. The bottom side of this has a hole in it, and it's gonna basically fit right over that. I'm not really sure if you can see it, but it's gonna clip. So you're gonna put it in and push a little bit, and you'll hear it pop. Once it pops, you're done. Now you're just gonna reinsert this with the new filter on it and the new O-ring right down inside where it used to go, or where it was before. Tighten it up by hand. Now, this is the trick. In order to save that oil cooler so that you don't put too much stress on those O-rings, you want to just make it snug. That gasket is on that cap to help make it snug so that it doesn't wind up leaking with oil pressure. So you just want to tighten it up. Just nice and snug, nothing crazy. And just when you start to feel it get a little bit tight. Okay, see, now it's tight. I'm just gonna give it a little, and that's it. That's all you need, nothing crazy. Now that we have a new oil filter in, we have the drain plug re-secured on the bottom of the motor. We're back over where on the driver's side where we removed this cap earlier, where we removed our oil filter or our oil cap. And that is exactly where we are going to stick a funnel. You're just going to put it right down in there, make it a little bit easier to pour your oil inside the motor and pour in your 6 quarts. All right, guys, so that's it, right? When you're done, you remove the funnel, make sure you put the oil fill cap back on there, wipe the funnel out with a paper towel because it will drip. And when you're done, start the motor, let it run for a few seconds, stop, check your oil with the dipstick. It should be, you'll see a crosshatch area in there. It's pretty simple. They're all the same pretty much. The oil should be at the upper end of that crosshatch area. You may have to wipe it off first before you check it, especially if your engine was just running. Reinsert it, pull it out a second time, then check. The only thing left, guys, is that annoying indicator light that would be on your dash telling you that you need to change your oil. Mine is not there yet. I change my oil regardless of what that light says. Sometimes people call them idiot lights, and there's a reason for that. But if your light is lit, you're gonna have to reset it. I'll have to reset mine too. And what you wanna do is put your key in the ignition, put it on the second position, so turn it 2 clicks, but don't start your motor. You wanna push down on the gas pedal and release it 3 times within 20 seconds, 15 seconds, right? So pretty quick, like down, up, that kind of thing. Turn it off, okay? Turn the ignition off, remove the key. And as soon as you put the key back in and start it, you'll be back to 100%. You'll no longer have that annoying ding on your dashboard. You've just changed your oil. Awesome work. And here's the deal. A lot more stuff like this, a lot more how-tos, things that in the future might be a little bit difficult, like re-gearing an axle, right? If you want to build your Jeep, installing a lift kit, things like that. but also the simple stuff. And like I said, if you've never turned a wrench before, this is a perfect way to get started and maybe turn a wrench on your vehicle and start to develop a little bit of your mechanical ability, as well as get to know what the different parts of your vehicle look like. It's a great thing to do. Guys, stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe. I'm glad you tuned in, and congratulations on your oil change.